r/AskReddit. What gender double standard really annoys you? Why do yogurt commercials never feature men? I like yogurt too, goddammit. Terry likes yogurt too. When my wife is taking care of our kids, she is parenting, but when I, their father, takes care of them, I am babysitting. I hate when her lady friends say, "Oh, you are such a good dad, babysitting your kids." Beach. I am parenting my kids. I've had people ask me, after I mention that I'm a stay-at-home dad, "What does your wife think of that?" Well, sometimes I'll let her be part of the decision-making process when she's not at work making 4 times what I made before we had kids. My toddler son is a little heartbreaker, but my toddler daughter will never date, and I'll threaten any boy that wants to take her on a date. This is a little heavy, but here goes. I'm a man who has been sexually assaulted and raped by a woman. The authorities thought I was a joke, and many people do not believe me simply because they don't accept that a woman can rape a man. That's awful, man. How my daughter can do gymnastics and she's called athletic, but as soon as her twin brother does gymnastics, he's just weird. As a guy, I feel like if I am around kids, or smile because I see a youngster having fun in the park or something, I'm labeled as a potential threat. But really, I just love to see kids being kids, and I'm thinking back on the days when I was that age. I grew up overseas, in a country that doesn't really encourage personal vehicles. We have a lot of public transport. As a result, my mechanical knowledge is extremely poor. My white girlfriend, who grew up in the sticks, and whose dad is a mechanic, has tinkered with cars all her life. Every time we walk to an auto parts store to get stuff, the employees never talk to her, even if they ask me a question and she replies. They continue acting as if she doesn't exist and keep talking to me. It's unreal. It's as if they don't see her. She's gone to job interviews for mechanical jobs where the interviewer asks her very basic and belittling questions because they don't believe she can understand mechanical stuff. Meanwhile, up until last year when I met her, I didn't know what a ratchet was. Pockets. I want M. But then the purse selling business has to shut down. That is, man, if I show any affection towards children, I could be considered a pedo. Not just that I like children. Edit. I don't mean it like that, guys. I remember hearing about a couple who were friends with my ex. They had hired a male babysitter to take care of their toddler from time to time when they wanted to go out. Everything was going great. The kid loved him. Never a single issue. Until one evening, the couple gets home and they find the babysitter sitting on the couch with the kid, who had fallen asleep leaning against him. They fired the babysitter on the spot because they felt that this level of physical contact was inappropriate, but openly admitted that they would have had no problem had the babysitter been a woman. Maybe this is more prevalent among people of my culture, Mexicans, but I remember when I was little we were done eating dinner at my aunt's house and all the women and girls got to cleaning while the men sat in living room watching TV. When I asked my mom about it, she and my aunt just laughed, giving me an "oh you dumb little girl" look. Pisses me off to think about it to this day. My GF is Mexican and it amazes me how they are trained like housewives. Her mother gets really upset at her when she doesn't serve me food at her house. I've tried to explain to them that we are a team and we serve each other. She looks at me like I'm stupid, lol. Pockets in clothing. My 3-year-old son has more functional pockets in his pants than my wife does in hers. Shout out to Torrid for actually putting usable pockets in women's clothing. Yes, I agree. Women's clothing needs more pockets. But also a 3-year-old is around the demographic most in need of pockets for all the cool rocks and shells and things they can find. The fact that there are still people out there in 2020 who think a man can't be raped or sexually harassed blows my mind. Yes, men get sexually harassed and catcalled. Yes, men get raped. Yes, they get raped by women. Not just other men. It happens a lot more than you think it does. But they're just taught by society to suppress the trauma that comes with it. They're taught not to speak up about it or else people will just laugh, ask them why they didn't enjoy it. Duck you. Double standard. When I was a teenager, I worked with these 2 girls who were extremely sexually aggressive, one who had a thing for me and her friend who egged her on. When I finally made it clear I had no interest, I was hounded and called every name in the book for the rest of my time there. had my sexuality questioned daily, etc. I finally complained to my manager, who responded with, "And I will never forget this. Maybe she'll stop being a beach if you man up and duck her, you kitten." Good times. This may be very culture dependent, but the way women are allowed to express their feelings freely, to cry, however men should be tough and suck it up, I think this is very toxic to the mental health of men. I feel your mate. Once when I was like in 5th grade, my dog had just died. I had known that little fella my whole life, and then all of a sudden he's gone. I ended up thinking about it in class the next day and started crying. Then the male teacher literally said, "Oh, suck it up, you're the man." Edit. Later that same year the teacher got fired for stealing the lunch from a girl in my class because he forgot his own. It's not a major one, but that the guy is expected to ask out the girl and always make the first move. It's fine for a girl to ask out a guy or make the first move. The expectation and pressure to wear makeup in a professional setting. And heels. They're part of dress code sometimes, which is bonkers. That stuff gives you back problems if you're not careful. I love heels on occasion, but as part of the dress code? Ridiculous. The TV dad stereotype. A bumbling, clueless, sexist moron who's forever uncool, out of touch, and can't do anything right. Imagine if TV shows showed the worst side of women as mothers. I can dress in typical men's clothes all day every day, never wear makeup, cut my hair short and never get my gender or sexual orientation questioned, but my husband gets comments to his gender identity and orientation for wearing a pink shirt to his suit. Duck right off with that. Remember when pink was a manly color? I do. I wish it were socially acceptable for guys to hold hands like girls do. You need a hug, bro. Male teacher ducks a student. 45-year-old pervert rapes underage girl. Female teacher ducks a student. Female teacher apologizes for sexual relationship with 16-year-old man. Threatening your daughter's boyfriend. This is a double standard. But it's also just a Hollywood trope that some dads think they're supposed to do, and it's incredibly creepy. When I was in high school, at least a couple dads would say things like, "Just remember I know how to shoot, and if you break her heart I'll break you," etc. Sometimes it's just dads thinking they're cute when they do this, but I've received at least one legitimate threat by a dad thinking he was doing his dad duty. Keep in mind that as a teenager I was very small and not at all in the bad boys clique. But if you are actually worried about your daughter's boyfriend harming her, then don't let her date them. Don't just blanket threaten a bunch of minors. When I was a teenager, I was not allowed out of the house to walk to the local shopping center to hang with my friends, all male. My mom told me it was because I'm a girl and I'm way more likely to be attacked on my way, and if I was a boy it'd be different. In general, since I was 12 up to now, when walking alone in public I was very frequently sexually harassed, and I'm not sure if the same thing happens to men. I don't like how when women are enthusiastic about caring for their kids or working in a daycare preschool they're seen as nice people, but when men are just out and about with their kids they're pegged as a pedophile. Men who are not shy of sharing their emotions and are understanding of women's emotion are weak. Not really sure if it's a double standard per se, but as a straight guy the onus is on me to approach women. What I mean is, on dating apps, IRL, whatever, the guy is expected to message first, ask for her number, just once. I want to be approached, pursued. I want to feel like I'm worthwhile enough. And after nearly 5 years of trying and failing with dating relationships, my self-esteem, never great to begin with, thanks to divorce, is at a nadir. Yeah, don't be unattractive, but that isn't my point. Shaving is for hygiene. Comments on women's body hair from men who are often literally covered in fur. I used to have this job where you'd basically live in the bush for 4 months. Gender ratios were about 60-40, considering it was a bush job. It was a really good ratio in my opinion. Being so far from civilized society, most people eventually let loose and was okay with the low hygiene standards. I always felt weird going back to society and seeing so many hairless people. Edit. Grammar. This one may be a little odd, but I'm a female bartender who works with 1 other woman and 4 other guys. For some reason it's okay for men to tease us ladies when we make drinks, but I haven't seen that happen to the guys I work with. It might happen too, but maybe not as often. I currently work at a country club, but I've worked at chain restaurants and dive bars too. It's really frustrating to be busy and hear some condescending pickup lines about how does someone like you know how to make insert really basic drink here. And it's shocking the amount of people that want to give me pro tips on pouring beer and whatnot. This obviously isn't every guy out here doing this, but there has been at least one of these guys at each bar I've worked. If women want to be sterilized, they need to be over 30, have children, plural, and a literal permission slip from their husbands. If men want to be sterilized, no problem, and their urologists run actual March Madness specials so they can be appropriately entertained while they're recuperating. I am a female teacher. I only know one man who is a kindergarten teacher, and people constantly make comments to him about how women must love it that he is so good with kids and he will be a great dad. As if he is only in the job to impress women. Nobody says this shit to me. Hair length. I'm a guy and my hair is long as hell almost to my hips. It's not greasy or weird. It's professionally kept, but I've been told at multiple job interviews how unprofessional it is and I need to cut it. Doubt they would ever tell a woman with a pixie cut that she needs to grow it out before getting a job. Just weird. There aren't enough commercials and shit celebrating single dads. Going into a store that is considered male, PC store, video game store, car shops, etc. and the salesperson only talking to my male partner despite me being the person looking for a product and being the buyer. Firstly, the sexualizing. How girls at a club can walk up to a really muscular man and start touching him and swooning over him and straight up harassing the poor guy, yet if a group of guys did that to a girl the police would be called. Secondly, video gaming. I just want to chill out and play a bit of Call of Duty, but as soon as I activate voice chat nobody takes me seriously because I'm a girl. And the fact that it's just a joke to some people is why sexism still exists in Gen Z humor. That men are encouraged to have sex starting young, and women are highly discouraged and told to stay virgins. Not only is this making women feel shame for having very human sexual feelings, it's also forcing young men who may not be ready for sex to feel inferior if they don't. I grew up with the whole be a virgin until marriage mentality. As a result, I have a horrible dating life because the idea of intimacy makes me anxious and ashamed. That it's the norm for women to take their husband's name, obviously for historical reasons, but it's considered odd for the husband to take the wife's name. But what I think is worse is that in a marriage where both partners keep their original name, the wife is viewed as confident, assertive and ambitious, but their husband is viewed as less powerful and feminine for not making her take his name. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.